Yo, what's up, you guys? It's your boy Jack Oates to go. You either know or you don't. First things first, I want to say I really, 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 really appreciate you guys. It is, god damn, it's like almost 11 o'clock at night. I just got off of work. It's been a long day, and as you guys already know, I have several jobs. So I work from 6 a.m. to about 10:30 p.m. And then by the time I get home, it's 11. So these are full on days, and that's Monday through Sunday. It is wild sometimes, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. And tomorrow is my birthday. So it's probably why I'm feeling it. I'm probably just over and ready to just like chill out. But I wanted to say I tuned into the Black Clover versus Everybody podcast for my break today, and it was really cool. It was nice. You know, you guys showed a lot of love, and you guys don't even know. That definitely turned my day around. So, thank you guys for rocking with me. I am forever, forever, forever grateful that I'm in this community. You guys rock. So, anyway, I did tell some of you guys that I would drop this video that I think about Zagred. Now, before I even say this, I just want to say take this with a huge grain of salt. It's not that serious, but I do think it could make the story cooler. And like I said, if you were in that chat when I said it, I have like almost zero reasoning for this, other than one fact and then just a bunch of headcanon. That's about it. So let's just get into it, I guess. So we've all been through the Elf Arc. We saw Zagred get taken down. Now the picture that I have up here is Zagred meeting with what we knew as the AMD before, but now we know it's Libe. And one of the things that got me like right away when this dropped, like what is this, like a year and some change ago? Probably more than that, right? Anyway, whenever it dropped, it instantly struck me as odd. Like, where did they meet? What is this space they're meeting in? And it got even weirder as time went on, and we found out that Liebe was in the grimoire that Asta had, and not in the underworld at all. So for Zagred to appear in front of Liebe like this has to mean that Zagred and Liebe met within the space of the grimoire, which is a really odd thing to do. Now, before I made this video, one of the things I like to do is message Broku, just like throw up all my thoughts about a certain subject into a message to kind of get my thoughts clear, and then get like his opinions on it, to kind of fine tune it. And one of the things that he brings up because as you guys know, I'm not really an anime watcher. I am watching the Spade arc, but in the anime, it's a red background, which means that is the color of the grimoire that Liebe's in, or Asa's grimoire. So Broku suggested that if anything, the soul of Zagred was probably trying to escape death by hopping into the grimoire, which was a valid point, because we know Zagred's kind of a weasel. He weaseled his way out of Klippa, and he weaseled the whole entire elf race and the royals and hoodwinked everyone. So I mean, it's definitely in his MO. But the thing that I would counter with would just be that Zagred did have a 5-leaf clover grimoire, and that was Patri's. So I think the easiest route would have been hiding in that grimoire, and I think the reason that he didn't was because he was pulled into Asta's grimoire. One of the things that make me believe this is that we've seen this grimoire pull in objects, right? Once it's been tainted with anti-magic, it pretty much just claims it. And we just saw this with Yami's katana. We've seen it with objects, which does make this a little bit of a stretch, right? Because Zagred is more or less a living being. And what I'm thinking, the heart of this is that Zagred was pulled in, just like Yami's katana was pulled into the grimoire. And instead of actually dying, because where would Zagred go, honestly, if he died? Where would he go? Maybe he got obliterated into nothingness. Sure, that's a possibility. But nothing in the series has really mentioned like nothingness being an option for death. Things seem to get recycled. It's pretty much the cycle of mana and life, right? So oh, he could be back in the underworld. The reason I don't believe that's the case is just because when Dante is trying to figure out who Asta's devil is, Lucifero, I put in big quotes because I'm pretty sure it's not Lucifero that Dante has, but we'll see. Lucifero says the only devil that should be topside is Zagred, and it's not him. So it seems that just off of that sentence that they don't even know Zagred was even defeated. So I don't think Zagred died and went back to the underworld. I don't think he got obliterated into nothingness. What I think happened is that he appeared in the grimoire because the grimoire sucked him in, just like the katana and all the other swords that Asta has. And I believe that some of Zagred's attributes linger within the grimoire and is now Asta's to use. Now, the only evidence that I have that goes towards this is that right off of the time skip, we see Asta crash into the Spade base. And he's complaining about the Grand Magic region, and he still can't really control the anti-magic because the Grand Magic Zone was really rough that particular day, right? So the Demon Slayer sword, like, goes to the other side of the room, and then he calls it. He says, Demon Slayer sword, and it comes to him. Now, I guess you could say that I'm saying that's his word magic, commanding the sword to come back. Now, I'm totally aware that he can manipulate anti-magic and whatnot. The thing is that it's just very odd for Asta to call the sword by name and then the sword to just answer like that. If he was just manipulating anti-magic, he would just manipulate the anti-magic. And it could just be an anime thing, because we know in anime, they call out like every single move they're going to make, like, oh, left jab, right hook, uppercut. It's just what they do. But I do think it is weird for Asta, because I feel like there were other times he could have done that and he did not just shout out the sword's name. So I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about it. I think Zagred could be within the grimoire, and I think that his attribute, ward magic, could ultimately lie with Asta at some capacity. Now, just some things to kind of back up this theory, right? So the grimoire that Asta has belonged to Licht before it belonged to him, of course. So Licht holding a spot on Keter on the Sephiroth. Remember in the video where I tell you the exact functions of these 10 emanations of a divine being, that Keter's job is to pretty much take in the light, life, or in this case, magic, and then spread it throughout the other 9 emanations of the divine being, which comprise the Sephiroth. So what I'm thinking is that Zagred did get pulled into this, because now this grimoire is not Keter. It does not belong to Keter anymore. It is the farthest from it, and the farthest from Keter is belonging to the Thaumael, which would have to abide by a similar set of rules, where instead of taking in life and magic, it takes in the very opposite. It takes in non-life, non-magic. It takes in the void. And any devil that resides in the Qliphoth belongs to the void and that darkness. So I don't think it's impossible for this to happen. And I kind of alluded to this already, if I didn't already just straight up say it in about 2 videos ago, I believe, where I talked about Morris and all that. That Asta might be the husk that the devils will end up residing in, and also be able to use their powers and whatnot. It's a really weird theory, I'll admit, but I don't think it's impossible. And I think they introduced Noct for a kind of gateway into this, because we see Noct has several devils, but he's got this unmarked grimoire, which they probably use to, manifest and all of that good stuff. So Asta could be using his grimoire in a similar capacity, or the grimoire is pretty much acting on his own. We see the grimoire kind of acts independently of Liebe and Asta. So it's just one of those things that we don't have a lot of answers to yet. And as soon as we know how grimoires work, we'd probably get another piece to this puzzle to add. But those are kind of my thoughts. I don't think it's impossible for this grimoire to be absorbing these things now that it's tainted with devil mana, and it's just afflicted by devils, right? And just to kind of further back it up too, is that it worked the same way with Licht. If you remember Licht pulling out the tainted demon destroyer sword, the rest fell off. It was no longer afflicted by anti-magic. So this is something that I don't think it's just light magic and that it just belonged to Licht. That's why it happened. I'm pretty sure it's just the attribute, because Keter, like I said, absorbs that mana and passes it down, so it can affect these things. So whatever weapons Licht would have got with that grimoire, I'm pretty sure would have responded in a similar way, that once he touches it, it's pretty much his, and it's afflicted with his attributes, his magic. And like I said, this is why I believe it happened with Asta. And I know it's weird for a whole living being, or non-living, whatever, to be absorbed. But like I said, we have Liebe in a grimoire right now, so I don't think it's too far out to say this. But that's my take on it. If this is the case, I think it'd be a wildly cool element to the story to add, because if you follow me on Twitter, you saw me post that, like, yo, Asta needs to use his Demon Destroyer sword, just because he can probably sever these connections of the possessed, and pretty much act as an exorcist, and he just doesn't do it. There's so many people afflicted with curses that this sword can just undo, because it has causality breaking qualities. I totally forgot where I was going with that. I'm so freaking tired, you guys. Good Lord, where was I going with this? Something about the Demon Destroyer, Asta using it for something. Oh, okay. So the demon brothers that we have, if Asta uses that sword, he should, in theory, be able to knock them out of that demonic state and back to whatever they were, whether that be elves, humans, gnomes, whatever. They don't really specify. And with the evidence that we have to assume they were elves, until it's said otherwise. But he should be able to do that. And I think it would be cool if he did, instead of just outright defeating it. And the reason I bring it up is because if Zagred is in the Grimoire, this would be a cool time to reveal that he is. Because Asta doesn't know the story of these demons. He doesn't know that they're brothers. He didn't know how they came to be. Just Yuno and Longreese and Xenon know this. So how would that information get relayed to him to be able to go like, hey, I should probably use this sword to pretty much purify them, or bring them back to the original state? Unless Zagred, who would probably have that kind of information, go like, yeah, well, I guess, you could do that. This is the history, and Asta kind of figures out on his own, like, okay, this is the best route to do it. Because he's not going to match this thing strength-wise, but the anti-magic is a hack, so it's cool. Another good reason to have Zagred in the book by his side is, as these seals are getting lifted, Zagred would have inside information on these devils, because now that he would be trapped in this grimoire, he has to avoid dying, just like Liebe tried to avoid dying by taking over Asta, and helping him out by lending him some power. it would be in Zagred's best interest to keep Asta alive now. So he would have to supply him with information, whether he likes it or not, whether it's towards his agenda or not for his agenda. And it could even go as far as him, saving Zagred to a point, just like he saved Liabe. He knew Liabe wasn't all bad. And we have to acknowledge the fact that it's more than likely that all these high-ranking devils are probably elves. And they went through the dark elf process, became devils and whatnot. So there could be some saving to do. And it would be nice to see Asta kind of become this almost like safe space for these devils to come into their own, kind of come back to humanity or elfanity, whatever you want to call it. And Asta acquiring more unions and powers from these devils. I just think that would be something really cool to see, because then you would also get on the flip side, who is definitely not about this devil agenda, never has been, never will be. If you're evil, and there's no talking to otherwise. He mowed down a Diamond Knight, not even afflicted by anything. He was just against and the Clover Kingdom, and he sliced him. He cut him down without a second thought. He cut Garderoy down without a second thought. So with Asta protecting these things that have committed so many atrocities, probably wouldn't take a liking to this. Not to say that he would aim for Asta, but where Asta sees someone that he can save, sees something that he can just get rid of and save everyone the trouble. So, like I said, this theory it's a wild one. It's a shot in the dark. It's just something that I was thinking about, that would kind of make this story a little more interesting to me. I hope Zagred is not done with his story. We don't know how he got out of the Qliphoth. I think that's the most interesting part about him, is that how would he get out, even in the form that he did? Why aren't other devils doing it? There's a hole somewhere that Zagred found out, and we have got to make sure that we figure it out, or else more devils will come through. So Zagred's still very important to this story. I think it just depends on when and if the pod wants to incorporate him, and how. But yeah, that was the whole theory. I hope you guys liked it. Tell me your thoughts on Zagred, where you think he went after he died, I guess. And yeah, put in the comment section below, or hit me up on Twitter. Doesn't matter which one. But yeah, it's been nice. Again, thank you guys so much. I love you guys for rocking with me. We're, I think 260 subscribers strong here, and it's been such a good vibe, and I want to keep it going. But yeah, I will catch you guys probably on Twitter, or I will catch you on the next video. This has been Jack Goes to Go. You either know or you don't.